Okay, so let's pick up where we left off yesterday. Reminder of what we're building. We're trying to build a CLI so that we can open an upcoming Google Calendar meeting, check for the Zoom meeting link, and then automatically open that link in the local Zoom client so that we can save all the clicks of having to open Google Calendar, open the meeting, click the Zoom meeting link. Yes, I'm super lazy, but all those clicks all of the time just really frustrate me. So a reminder of where we've gotten up to. We've so far managed to create an authentication client for Google Calendar API. But what we need to do now is start to query for the meetings. So I think we're just going to get straight on with that. So remember, what we want to do is find out, say, the current meeting, and then retrieve from that the Zoom link. So what we need to do for that, obviously, is just read the documentation about how we can use this Go client to do that. Give this client for Go. We really want the Go doc for it, which hopefully is here somewhere, but wrong with tutorial, examples directory. So we want the Go doc API. So the developer thing. This looks like it. Okay. So this is the client that we're using, and we have our client. So what we want to do what I want to do is be able to query on a particular calendar. So calendar list. Exported fields. So maybe let's do a bit more Google. So Google Calendar API Go list upcoming, say, events. Okay, so this is the HTTP API, which the client is built on top of. Well, you know what we get in the end is just an HTTP client, right? It's not actually. I was thinking that we had some fancy Go client here, but we don't. I wonder if you can create one. Yes, this looks like it does actually support. There we go. So we now need to create a new calendar service using. So instead of returning a client, let's return. Rather than returning a HTTP client, why don't we return this new calendar service? So why don't we say calendar dot, what is it? Yeah, so let's say calendar dot new service. I mean, I'm assuming that this new calendar service is useful to us. It's unclear what it returns. a calendar service. So let's search for the service and see what that actually is. It says this. So imagine this service would actually just be, you know, like an SDK and give us the ability to call methods and, you know, abstract away the HTTP requests. But as yet I can't see actually how that works. Let's go back up here and see. See the example here. Yeah, we generate a new service. Right, yeah, so if you have Google default credentials, you can use this method. So I do have GCP and Google application default credentials set up for my other calendar, but with this test calendar I don't, obviously, because I've just created it. So I want a method that works for both. Let's continue as we are for now. I just don't see what this calendar service offers. Yeah, so when we call new service, it gives us one of these services. And service has because service has no methods other than creating a service, so it's unclear to me how we okay. So then you actually pass the service itself in. So let's have a look at this. So list service. So we might want to, let's see, we might want to list events, for example. But that's actually listing calendars, I think. So let's instead see if we can events list. So we can create a new one of these, I think. How do we create an events list call? Probably first we need to get a calendar list service. Let's search for new. Right, so we get a calendar service, then we get a calendar like this. So we pass in the calendar ID and an event ID. But we want, say we want to list all events. So this might work. What if we just listed all events? Should we try this one? Okay, so first thing is we need to return this new service. So let's swap this for this. We need to for the time being pass in this token. So it looks like we need to go get this. So this will give us the ability to create a calendar service. Let's say option dot. Yeah, so now we can pass in our token and create one of these services. So option with token source. And then we pass in the context, so probably we ought to save this up here. With token source. Config, right, okay. Dot token source. Context, and then we pass in the token. So from what I understand, and we will test this in a moment, this should give us now a calendar service not pointer to a pointer. And this calendar service opens up this whole SDK to us, the calendar SDK. So let's run that again now and just make sure that still works. Hopefully we should use the stashed. We use the stash token, and that does seem to have worked, which is great. So now let's give it a try. So we get our client. Probably we want to say if there's no error here. Yep. Print and exit. Let's do something like client, and then let's see where we just were. So just search for there's a calendar service. So the calendar service is going to give us some options around getting the calendar, but we really want this event service. So for the event service, let's say we want to list. So first, let's get a new event service. So an event service we can just call calendar.newEvent service, and pass in our client. And then we want the list call. What are instances? So that's for recurring events. But we want to look at this. So we want this list. So let's get the event. Let's get an event lister with the event service dot list. What do we need to pass in? Calendar ID. Now I saw here that we can pass in primary. I think that will work for us for now. So let's say primary and see if that works. Now we have our event lister. That gives us an event list call. Let's see what we can do. So fields. Okay, so we can get a partial response. We can get max attendees, members. Okay, so this allows us to set things, but we don't really want to max results. So it's the optional parameters, events returned on one result page. Okay, so that's a good starting point. Let's set max results to 5 because we want to see the next 5. Actually, no, let's do the next 1 because we only want to get the very next meeting anyway. The default is an unspecified stable order. Yeah, and we definitely want to order by start time. It's the dot. Order by, it's just the string start time. Okay, what else? Which result? We just want to see the first. Number of pages. Primary extended. So we can do a free text search, so we can query as well, which we could do if we're on a specific meeting. Show deleted, show hidden invitations. Single events and single events, when to expand recurring events into instances, and only return single one-off events and instances recurring events. Default is false. So these are allowing us to filter by time. So it's the optional for event start time. So that will be useful. We could probably do that. But let's not worry about that for now. Let's just see if we can actually make this work. So, and of course what we get. What we should probably do first is let's set a meeting 1 here. I'm not going to add a Zoom link for now. Just want to add at that meeting and see if we can get it. So I think the method is the do method, which gives us our events. So let's give it a try. So our events and our error, of course. Event lister.do, resume no method, no. Awesome. No equals nil. Print line, sorry. So let's print this error retrieving. Events. We can print that out to give us an idea if something goes wrong. Else, let's. This won't be particularly pretty, but let's do it anyway. We can always prettify it later. Give that a go. We did get an error. So requested ordering is not available for the particular query. So we can't order by start time. Maybe that's because we're only fetching 1. Let's give that a go. No, that's not why. All right, well, let's not worry about that for now and see what we get. If we, okay, we do seem to have got an event. It's impossible to see much about this event right now. So let's have a look at what event properties we get. So we are getting an event. So let's say event 1 is just the first in the array. What's wrong with that? Right, sorry. Events isn't a raw array. So let's see, events dot description. Of course, items. There we go. Assuming this has a title. Attendees, creator, description. Summary? What is this field called? How do we get the title? Tell you what, how about we just print the entire event again. So now instead of printing this events type, let's try just printing the actual event itself and see if that gives us anything more useful. So we're getting a very old event there. So it makes me think that the filter. So let's add in the time min, sets the optional time in, lower bound, exclusive from events, end time. So let's set the time minimum. Okay, so it uses this. So let's say that we want to filter by sorry, this what we're doing time. So what this is saying is that we want to filter and say events must end after a certain time. So let's say time.now.format, and then I copied that from here because it has to be that format. So this should say that we want all our events to finish after now, which of course we do because we're only interested in events that finish in the future. Let's see if that gives us a better way forward. Okay, that looks better. It's the start of this year. So weirdly, it's still giving us events starting this year. So that's done something. But why? Let's see. Upper bound from its start to filter by. These are not very useful filters, to be honest, are they? Like, it would be much easier just to be able to say, yeah. So time min. Min sets the optional time lower bound in time, not to filter by time. See if that still gives us an error of using that parameter. So why can't we order by that? There must be some caveat back here. There's the optional unspecified stable order. Yeah, so what we really want is Google Calendar API get events in future. Yeah, so this is what we already have open. So let me read that here. So this is only available when querying single events. So okay, that makes sense. I wish it gave that error rather than just saying 400 or 404 rather. So let's set that to single events. Events list, cool. So events list dot single events. True. So right, it has to be true. Okay, perfect. And now this should work. So let's put that first in case the validation is actually happening as we set it. And that has actually fetched the meeting that we just set, which is meeting 1 there, which is actually kind of promising. Let's print the keys here so that we can, I think it's something like that. This should give us the key value pairs. Let's also grep this so that we, I can't remember, meeting 1. So at least we should get it highlighted for us. There we go, summary. And to check that we're getting this right, let's now log. So now that we know the key is summary, we can log event1 dot summary. And if we increase this a little bit, we can also make sure events.items that we are actually getting the correct order here, can't we? So if we create a second event tomorrow, which we call meeting 2, we can now validate that we're getting the start time, being ordered by start time. So that way we can be sure. Actually, we can be sure that we're getting them in the right order, and therefore can depend on. Yeah, looks good. And if we just do one more for a check, if we do actually, let's do one before meeting 1 just to check that this isn't actually update time that it's doing. So meeting 0 now should come first. If we copy all of this, there's 2, put that here. So now we should get them 0, 1, 2, which we do. So now we can be confident that we're getting the right order. I'm very happy with that. So now what we ought to do is, if we go back to looking at these keys for a moment, we now need to figure out how we can get the Zoom link. So we need to print the whole event again, and we also need to add a Zoom link onto one of these. So let's add a Zoom link. Let's go back here and see if there is anything else we can do to get extra fields. Past responses. I wonder if there's anything to request extra fields. Page terms. Okay. So I wonder if there's a. Okay, so shared extended properties constraint specifies property equals value matches only shared properties. Multiple times to return events that match all given constraints. So this is helpful. This gives us the full response. So that this is the events. Probably you can get this in the Go doc as well, but I was being very lazy. So it looks like there's a conference solution key. That would be very useful if we can see that. Let's see if that's exposed by the Go conference data. That's useful. So conference parameters. Where's this used though? So it looks like this request might be useful. It looks like it just returns a specific event. So you can do in the patch. Update. So we do actually get conference data on the event, apparently. Let's try that. .conference data. see what we get, shall we? Well, that looks promising. So what does this conference data hold for us? Does it have a URL? Solution. So the solution is the icon, entry points. We've got a meeting code, the passcode stuff, a URI is going to be the link. It might be. So dot entry points. Let's try that. Looks like there are two. So we just need to figure out the type. So entry point type. Well, what's the entry point type going to be? So why don't we iterate through these entry points here? So we can say for entry, for entry, we can range over these and print the entry points and figure out, well, actually, let's print them in a pretty way so that we can get all the details. If we print our each entry, then we should be able to figure out where the URI is. Entry point type video. Okay, so entry point type video looks good. Okay, so what we can do is just say equals video. Then we know that this is the video entry point. And then what we want to do is print entry dot. I think there was a, yeah, let's print the URI. No, that should work. That looks like a Zoom link to me. Let's run that again and see if that works. Well, and I can confirm that that link has indeed opened the Zoom desktop client. And therefore that pretty much seems to be what we're looking for. Okay, so what that's done is fetch the next meeting. We can now get the URI for it and essentially provide it to the user, even open it automatically. So I think that's a really good place to end part 2. We've been able to retrieve the upcoming meeting and even extract the Zoom link from that meeting. In the next part, we'll just use that link in order to open the Zoom client and also make a basic CLI in Go so that we can execute this easily from the terminal without needing to run Go. So thank you for watching. Please like if you enjoyed this video. Leave any comments and questions in the comments down below. And if you did like this video and you want to see the final part, make sure you subscribe. And if you haven't seen the first part installation of this, go back and watch that as well to get a complete picture of what we're building and how we're doing that. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon.